So, a spiritual retreat is something which may be, as a generic word, we may have come across. The point is, why do we need it? At what stage you need it in life or your personal journey? What kind of spiritual retreat? With whom? When you talk of, okay, where to go, with whom to go, what to do, there are, no right or wrong, but there are certainly a lot of factors which will impact the outcome of it. So, most important thing is clarification. And then you have to dig deep. Then you go inside your own, you know, your consciousness, your frequency, your energy, whichever way you want to take it, because ultimately that's what gonna impact it. And that is the most important thing. Means, are you aware of who you are, why you need it? Because this is not a travel kind of, trip that, okay, I'm just going as a tourist and a little bit I can decide. Once I'm there, of course, flexibility in any situation is always there, but keep it in mind that this is all about you, right? So there are certain changes, certain impact, certain effect. So one of the thing which we may have observed, we may have come across certain people and we say, oh, this person has some psychic ability, or this person has this you know uh, power, what we call superpower. Okay, this person can talk to angels, or this person can talk to masters. This person can have very high intuition, can see future, all those kind of things. So when we talk of psychic ability, whether we are talking just in general, great masters, whatever, but basically whatever you cannot sense with your five senses, if you can have information above and beyond those five senses, then we say one or the other, doesn't matter what, but it comes under like a psychic ability. Why this is important? Because this is kind of considered, or we loosely take it as a superpower. We think that, oh wow, this person can do this. Sometimes people may take it negatively, means they are afraid that, oh my god, you are different. But that's not the point here. The point is having that superpower. That's the point. Understanding that superpower is important. So we feel there are certain people who have the psychic ability. They can heal, they can have information, they can see things, feel things, those kind of things. But the fact is, about 90% of us have it, but it's hidden. Like you do the mining and take out a diamond, and then we say, okay, as of today, the largest diamond in the world is so and so, and this is the biggest, and all those kind of things. But we do not know if that is the biggest, because a lot of it is still uncovered. Every day you dig and you find new diamonds. Every day people dive in the ocean and find new pearls. Similarly, 90% of us, we have this psychic ability, means we can sense beyond our five senses. However, we have not discovered those power, or we don't know where it is, how to use, things like those. Like one example I commonly give is like a remote of your TV. It has tons of features in it. We are mostly aware of some common controls. We will power on off, we will do the volume, some channels or whatever, you may be flipping around. There are much more features in the remote that we are not even aware of. We may use that electronic gadget for years, never use it once. Similarly is our body. We have so much that we are not aware of. So some people who don't believe in it, some people who deny it, that no, no, there is. Nothing called psychic, or there's nothing called frequency, wave, energy, whichever way you want to take it. And you stay in that zone that you are denying it. No, this thing doesn't exist. It's a solid body, so how can we say it's energy, and all those kind of things. Certainly, those will fall into those 10% who don't have it, because you are in denial mode. Second, the ability within this 90% will vary. Yes, some will be very high, or greater than others. That's possible. But the fact that whether you have it or not, 90%, that answer will be, if it is a yes, no, will be a 90% yes. It's just that we don't know. Now, why? Because when we go for such trip, we are activating our powers. Any such trip that we go on, we are getting something activated. What and how much we may not know, but certainly something gets activated. Everything is related to your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind has awareness, which is beyond space and time. If you recall, we have talked in one of the session sometime before, time space space time concept. And the mind, which is subconscious mind, not the conscious, subconscious, that has awareness. So it is sometimes difficult to activate our powers when we do it alone. It can be done. Certainly you may have heard or read about our rishi munis or masters going to Himalayas for sadhana. Why? Because they were doing it alone. So they went in a place where they can you know be in themselves. They can do this and activate their powers. It's so common. Any kind of literature, our stories, that we go that, okay, this Rishi Muni went there and did tapasya for so many years and then he got this power. Of course, we are talking about the family life, we are talking about day to day, what do we do that we at least tap those powers. So it is difficult when you're alone, because sometimes you don't know what it is and you don't know how to do it. There is no guideline, where to start, where to end, all those kind of things. When we go in a group, the universe helps us, because we get some messages, some signals, some ideas from different people, different event, different situations. So what happens is, when you go in a group, it's no more your energy. Now it is become group energy. And when it is a group energy, one person may be having some disturbance, means your mind is not calm, but others are calm. So what happens is, overall energy is much calmer, slower. So you also slow down, means your brain wave slows down. And that's why when you are in such like-minded, common aim kind of group, everybody gets the benefit. It is something like 1 plus 1 becomes 11, not 2. So the universe will create events. Somebody may say something, do something, bring some example, or certain situation may come that you will get your answers that you were waiting for years. Or you may get hint that how to go about it. So the recent one, Sedona, I got some answers. Again, talking to people. But one important thing which we will go before is, you should be clear that you want answers of such things. It's not necessary that if you do not have that clarity, you will not get an answer, but to get an answer, you have to prepare before you go. One of the ways to prepare, body and mind both. So one thing which really hits both the spectrum is, in one word, detox. That means before you go, you bring your body and mind in a situation it's ready to receive. Say electrical circuit. If in our home, you just go, you need to turn on the light, you press the button, the switch, and the light turns on. But if the wire is disconnected inside, doesn't matter what you do to the switch, light will not turn on. So that is what, when we do detox, we are basically purifying, we are getting our body at the optimum level. So what happens here is we are utilizing the features of our body. And one great feature that goes unnoticed, we are not aware of, is our DNA. Now, DNA, I think most of us have heard about it, but in a negative way. We get afraid. Oh my God, this is in my genes. What can I do? Well, forget that part. You use the DNA for your benefit. DNA is like an antenna, right? DNA interacts. It will receive different information. Why? Because information is nothing but energy, frequency. What is our body? Frequency. What is spirituality, consciousness, and all that? When we say consciousness, I want to improve or, work on my consciousness. Basically, I'm changing my frequency. So your DNA is like an antenna. It is receiving. And how do you receive information? Frequency. Every frequency, every wavelength, doesn't matter. It's just a formula you convert, but it has information. And DNA is receiving wide bandwidth. It's not like a small radar which is working on some narrow bandwidth. It has wide bandwidth, multiple spectrum of frequency that it can receive at the same time. So it is up to us. Are we ready to receive it? And that's why we're talking about detox. Detox because, see, you are controlling what you eat, you are controlling when, how, and all that. And plus, you are doing some kriyas to cleanse yourself. So your body is lighter, your body is ready that, okay, I'm like a whiteboard, a clean whiteboard. The whole space is available to do whatever you want. And then you make most use of this trip. So how do you know that it is working? Like in this case, when I went, I could observe things without judgment. And that is absolutely critical. Why? Because when you do this, it comes as a feedback that yes, last time this thing was such, this time it is such. You see your progress, that yes, just as a feedback loop. The moment you start judging people, oh, he said, she said, or he did, she did, that means it's negative. You are judging. It could come from one of the group member. It can come from outside. Doesn't matter. But how do you know that you are non-judgmental? Because that is the key. Because after observing, after analyzing, it should not create any emotion. Neither that, oh, let me tell others what this person did. No, then you are in a very low frequency level. If no negativity coming out of it, if there is no urge, kind of, being the person to broadcast the news or any of those things, you are observing certain things. What will be those certain things that you will see is basically what you have been working on, or the body or yourself is telling you to work on. That's how it comes. And you can see, yeah, till last time I was behaving like this. Now it's absolutely neutral. That means I have really checkmarked that item. I have overcome. Why it is important? Because you see, when you go for any course, whether it's school, college, university, there is an exam at the end. Why? Just to check, where are you? You have gone through the theory, but have you understood? Have you learned? Have you retained that information or not? So these kind of check and balances are equally important. Why? Because they are connecting to your previous trip. Or if this is your first trip, previous whatever you have been working on. And both are very important. And because this was my second, I mean, there were so many connections from the first one. It was amazing. Some came that, yes, you worked, but little bit you laughed. Why didn't you, go to the finish line? You stopped little before. There were certain things which happened beautifully. Like I could say, wow, yeah, last time I was kind of planning, or I was doing it intentionally to improve. And this time I'm doing the same thing unintentionally. It just happened. That means I've completed that check mark. And that is the awareness that you need. That means you say, brain, the body, great work, buddy, because you have to pat your own back. You have to give that signal to the brain that you are working and you are achieving what you were planning. This signal, this DNA, how beautifully it works. You can understand also that when the mother has conceived, and before the birth of the child, the mother's DNA and the child's DNA, they are flowing. Mother's DNA is going, the baby's blood, the organs, and baby's DNA is flowing in mother's. This is the connection. This is the time when the mother and the child build this connection. You may have heard many times that something happens to the child, the mother knows already. Sometime with twins, one thing happens with one, the other person feels it. How? This is the connection. This is the time when those DNAs, those information, those frequencies are hooked up. And now even the child is 5 years or 25 years, something happens, the mother has uneasiness, mother has some feeling that something is wrong. This is how it is connected. So the question becomes, do we really trust enough to accept the information we are receiving? Or do we frequently, discount that information? Sometimes people say, oh, I am having some feeling, but no, it is just like that. It has no meaning. So you have to play, you have to experiment with yourself to separate what information really is meaningful, what information is a noise factor, what we call it, right? Noise factor means small thing which is not related to your soul plan, your purpose of life, or your sadhana. How will you know which one is important, which one is not? You have to be aware of what are your key topics that you need to work on as a soul, not as a physical body. So when you are aware, these are the topics my soul is really working on, and that we have covered in the soul plan also, how to know without going into any workshop or anything. And then you are getting answer related to the same topic, means now universe is talking to you. And when you are getting some answer which is random topics, no big impact uh, on your topics and all, then these are noise factors. Don't worry, whether you pay attention or not, that's okay. Sorry. So a very critical point comes here is entanglement. Though we have covered this very long, like sometime long ago, so let's talk about it one more time. What is entanglement? Do we know how it actually works? But spiritual retreat helps. What is entanglement? Entanglement, experimental wise, if we say it, it was done in 1990 by Swiss. And what they did was they took a photon, right? Photon we know is within the atom, so means much smaller than the smallest unit, what we call an atom. So it's part of it, photon, and they split one photon into two. And through fiber optic cable, they moved one in, like both of them basically in opposite direction. So one went to left, one went to the right, 7 miles apart from the center. That means totally 14 miles away. One went 7 miles to the left, other went 7 miles to the right. So total 14 miles. And then they impacted one electromagnetically. So when you are impacting one electromagnetically, the spin will change, the rotation will change, and it will have a different behavior. And what they observed, the moment they impacted one without doing anything to the other, the change was also observed in this second one. They were not connected. They were 14 miles away. How did the other photon knew what's happening to the other one? And whatever change they observed in the one which was impacted, because the one where they did electromagnetically different situation, obviously it will behave differently, it's understood. But the other one, which is 14 miles away, no impact, showing the same behavior as after the change in the first one. So that was something, you know, what scientists were amazed with, and that is called entanglement. Now, is it a magic? No. Where is it coming from? So this is coming from pre-Big Bang era. Big Bang theory, you may have heard that universe, the matter was compressed, and then, it was just single unit kind of, and then it exploded. And from there, the universe was formed. And universe till date is still expanding. So it started from single unit in a way, simply said, and now it is expanding. Because it started from single unit and now it is expanding, like, of course, splitting millions and millions and billions, trillions times. So you see all the matter and everything in the universe. But the original source was one. And that is why we are all connected. This is the background of entanglement. And this is what they were trying to prove by photon, because it started as one, then they splitted it. And now one part goes through some changes, the other feels impacts the same way. And that's what the entanglement, and that's the basis of oneness. Now, talking about this cyclic ability that we were talking about, one very, you know, interesting research, what they found was that the countries where we have advanced technology, you can call the Western world, there they have more mutation, means the psychic ability is lost. So the technology is helping us in one way, but the other way, which means we aware of our own, who we are, what's my power, we are losing that. We are getting kind of, slave in the hand of technology. Everything you depend on technology. We are losing our powers. Simple example, before, we used to remember, or at least I remember, I would know the at least 10, 12 phone numbers of the near and dear ones. Now, other than my own, even the closest family members, I have to check my contact details, or, you just, obviously you have your already those critical ones saved as star, speed dial, whatever that may be. And then you dial that. But if someone says, what is the number? You'll have to look into it. The GPS has been made as such that any place where we go, even daily to work or whatever, we have to use GPS now, whether to check traffic or whatever. But slowly and slowly, we are losing our ability to remember direction, remember things, and all those things. We don't realize that sometimes. So technologically advanced countries are losing more and more this. This is part of the outcome of this research. So 90% people have it, but we are losing more where we are totally dependent on technology. So what happens is, in these sessions, the access to energy and information, I mean, it comes together, right? Frequency as information, frequency is energy. So energy, information, they come as a package, not two separate things. But during these sessions, when you go, you access to this energy much easier and in more abundance. Why this thing happens? First thing is your brain waves have slowed down. Your brain waves are linked with the group, which is linked to this aim of improving your consciousness. And hence it becomes easier as a group to receive more and more. So when you have any, psychic experience, what it does, a small one, it doesn't have to be out of body or, astral travel, all those kind of things. A very small one, you get some information, you get some hints or whatever. Your brain lit up. And when your brain lit up, it's like, lightning going on. Even you could be in a gamma state, because usually we are in beta waves. You can go to alpha, delta, theta. Some monks and all regular meditators, they may be able to go to gamma wave. But during such setups, the power and energy and everything is such that you may end up into a gamma wave situation. And that can double, triple, quadruple in amplitude. Why? Because your brain is more lucid. The brain is more awake. The brain is more aware when you are in such setting. Because you're not talking about movies, you're not talking about work, you're not talking about world politics. The discussion, the energy, everything is all about improving your frequency. So what happens is it creates coherence. If you recall, we talked about brain and heart coherence in quantum physics sessions. Same. So when there is a coherence in the body, that means health. Simple. The moment you fall out of coherence, we get into health issues. Now, how do we prove? How do we find? There are many tools. EEG is very common where they will put sensors. Mind mirror is another thing that can give you this information, the relationship between consciousness and brain. These devices, when you connect, you can feel, you can record, you can see the thing that it really makes sense. And there are a couple of important points here. What you will see change is frequency of, like, when we keep saying frequency, frequency. So frequency is the speed of thought. Amplitude is power of thought. And when you get both, now you are getting the huge benefit. Why? Because not only speed but amplitude, you are gaining on both sides. So it is activating your consciousness as you access more energy and more information. And this is what happens when you say, oh yeah, I got an idea. Oh yeah, okay, this person. You may have heard certain things before, but now you have calmed down that you access that information much quicker, much easily. That, oh yeah, or I'm getting this kind of dream, some reference, some information. So what happens is your heart wave also changes. Again, if you recall, we talked about heart can produce up to 3 meters wide electromagnetic waves. These waves really creates, you know, when you interact with people, they are exchanging information. This is the time when your intention is also important. So when you are going for such trip, you should be clear. What is your intention? What is it that you want as an outcome? What topic is critical to you? Which one you are really intending that in this trip, I want to work on this, or, I want to improve this. Why? Because intention is a tool. An intention of one person impact the other person, even if the person is away and not in the same room. Again, we talked about entanglement. So see, it's not necessary that you are right next to each other, only then it happens. Of course, when you're next to each other, there is more interaction. Like we said, the heart is, 3 meters wide and you are sitting together, very close proximity. You imagine if there are 10 people, 15, whatever number is, and they're heart and they're all connected. So quantum principles explain this very well, that non-locality, like it's not that it has to be in this room only, then it works. So when you're outside, when you're working with the, kind of a guide during these things is very important, because the guide helps you enhancing. When you sit together, and the energy of the place, energy of the guide and the group. So imagine, like, it's getting super amplified. So what happens is, again, when we are saying consciousness, sometimes we think it's in our brain, but it's not. This is physicalist paradigm. But when you go for non-physicalist paradigm, this brain is not, this whole consciousness is not just, in the brain. It goes beyond the physical brain. And for that, you have to understand the time, space, space-time concept, because when you talk about that, it really helps in understanding that it's not like it's in my brain physically. Brain is just accessing the information. The non-locality, or if you recall, we talked about observer effect. They are key effect behind this, that how when our body, any matter keeps changing between matter and energy, and that also, 7 to 8 times a second. So when you go to such high energy, or what we call the high energy vortexes and all that, it impacts because we are energy. The place has energy, the guide, the group energy. So that's how it gets amplified. We are one. We are not separated. We are just energy. Energy means frequency. So the moment we, without even knowing, amplifying, working, cohesiveness, all those things, what it does, it channelize our energy. It makes it like a superhighway. So you're very efficient. Everything is working perfectly in your body. This condition you need only for moments. You don't need for whole day. Your DNA gets upgraded. When we say you get this information transformation, certain diseases, illness, and situations are healed in a moment. When that moment will come, you don't know. But it doesn't need whole day to fix your DNA or fix your issues. So that is why in such cases, to be in that situation just for some moments is enough. There is nothing that you cannot be, you cannot do, or you cannot have. Everything is possible. That's where we say, think positive, your mind power and all that. Basically, we are just saying be in that energy space. So such places works on all of us the same way. It's not like, it will work differently for a different person depending on your spiritual journey, depending on your consciousness. No. Yes, if a student is in grade 1, you will go to grade 2, but the student in grade 8, after completing, going to grade 9. So that doesn't mean grade 9 student is better than grade 2. It's just that your journey started a little early. That's all. So with this, in such places, when you're working on, you're healing yourself, you're developing, you're nurturing yourself, that means your energy, soul. So you have to stay with you, who you are. Don't worry about the others because you don't know their journey. You don't know where they stand. So never compare, never get, worried that, oh my God, this is working for them or they are there, I'm here. No, it's a unique situation for all of us. We have our own learning, understanding. So never compare, never worried about what others' learnings is. All you have to do is be aware. What is your soul looking for? What is it that you need to work on, and only focus on those topics. Other topics, keep it in your back pocket. You will get a lot of information, wonderful. But if you're not aware of what is it that your soul needs to work on, then you may get confused where to go. You have, a lot of the roads is splitting between 5, 6 directions, which one to pick. If you know which direction to pick, it will be very easy. You will pick the right one. So masters, this is the importance that why spiritual journeys are so critical, or they help. It doesn't mean if somebody goes to one place, everybody has to go to that place, because every place have different frequency depending on what you need. It may impact you differently than someone else. So the places which are really popular, means in terms of known for high vortexes and all, of course, they will impact most of the people. But if you just go there as a visitor, tourist, and come back, it may have a very limited impact than when you prepare yourself before going, while you are there, and even when you are coming back, the impact is there. So don't lose or miss out to that benefit. Continue, just understand, learn, because it's a journey, it's not a destination. So we'll take your any questions that you may have, and any experience that you may have as well. Okay.